Jonathan Lingo, is that you? Jonathan, you're my producer today. Can you hear me and see me? I'm going to tilt this down a bit. Howdy, Kevin from Houston. Howdy, Jonathan from Mississippi. Jumping a little early, if you guys don't mind. It's mostly just to see if see if everything's up and running. I'm not doing all the fancy encoder stuff that Dylan and I normally do. We're just kind of doing this on the fly here with a laptop and an acoustic guitar. This is how our forefathers would do live streams centuries ago. Yeah, this is how it works. Southwest Colorado, Tom, welcome. Thank you so much. Kevin, we're glad when you can catch these live as well. Anything can happen. This is basically going to be 20 minutes of just ask me anything. I mean, I have a few tips if we get to them, but I'd prefer to know what's going on with you guys in your guitar world. If there's any challenges, if you had any accomplishments, I'd love to hear about those. Anything that you thought you would never conquer, but you have. Hello, Greg from KC. Your Chiefs look. They're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. You always have those weird losses, And from Savannah, Sean, my man, good to see you. Love watching Sean's always posting something. Sean's always pushing himself too, by the way. I never feel like I've seen Sean do a video where he's doing the same thing twice. It could be me. It could just be my rate of watching, but there you are. And by the way, little gear talk. This is a Martin MC 36, I believe. Yeah, MC 36. Now this is technically a triple O or an O style Martin guitar. It's not a dreadnought. The difference is in the bracing, but it is the largest one they make. The lower bout of this guitar is pretty big considering it's an O style acoustic. A little bit of a story on this. Years ago, I was on the morning show at K-Earth 101, which is an oldies or classics station here in Los Angeles. And geez, I guess I started that gig in about 2006. So I was with Sean and at the time. And but the gag was I would go on and be part of the morning crew for about an hour. I'd be live on the air, and they have this contest every day. There'd be Office of the Day because a lot of offices listen to K-Earth. And if they won, then we would call them on the phone and we'd find out who they were, what they did. They give some shout outs. And then I would serenade the office over the radio live. So I just needed a really good acoustic guitar. And then we would actually go with donuts and coffee and have a party there at the office. So every day I would go to a different spot all around Southern California doing this and perform live. So I needed a really, really quality acoustic guitar. I had some things that I've been banging around on for a while, and then it's Eugene and me, exactly. And hello, John from Atlanta. So anyway, and again, I was with Sean and but I was also doing other side gigs, and I once played a private party for the Martin Guitar Company at the NAMM convention. And so I met some of the A&R people there, and I told them what my gig was. They said, we can help you out. And then actually, when I was later on that year, I was in the Pennsylvania area, and I didn't get to go to the factory because we were playing on a weekend, and they don't do tours there. But they did bring some guitars for me. Now, I had been talking to them over the phone and talking about my needs and different models I prefer and what would be best. Now, oddly enough, they had suggested this M36, which this model, it has its start at one point, I think somewhere in the late 50s or the 60s, Martin decided to make an archtop guitar, which they just didn't really ever do. And I think they were, maybe, I don't know, I feel like archtop guitars are already going out of style, but they were going to try and make like an Epiphone style archtop acoustic F-holes, the whole thing. Didn't go over well. But a particular player, I think it was David Bromberg, bought one and then took it to a guy somewhere in New York and just had them put a flat top on it. And then someone at Martin saw this and said, wait a minute, that's not a guitar that we make. He says, no, I had a flat top put on this, but it sounds great. And so then Martin started making it. So it's the Martin M36. Oh, Eric, you've been to the Martin factory. I don't know. I have several times I have intended to go. I remember once I was planning on going because I was with Dwight and we were playing in the area. And then like the day before, the A&R rep calls and says, look, we really can't do a tour this weekend because our AC shut down and we can't ventilate the place. And they had to like redo something there, which of course they have a lot of dust and wood flying around there. So I understand that would be their primary concern. But some reason, something always comes up and I can't get there. But here's another story. This is guitar stories at this point. Again, it's Ask Me Anything. So I'll just keep telling stories unless people ask me questions. Last summer, it was around 4th of July, around that area. And we played in Chicago. It was with Dwight. And when we flew back, right after the show, and then we had a day off because it was 4th of July, and then I was that Monday. I was booked to go out to the Corona factory, the Fender factory, the mothership, and to film a video with Jensen and a couple other folks because they had done those Despicable Me guitars and basses and stuff. So we were gonna show them off, and we were gonna play one of the theme songs with these kids that were there. And I'd never been to the factory, so I'm so excited. And of course, as protocol, we, that morning we all get there and we all take a COVID test before we can go inside. No big whoop. I was positive twice. I'd never had it, and then that's when I get it. Is right outside the factory, so I don't get to go. I don't get to do the gig. I don't get to go inside. I got to go straight home. I felt fine, by the way. I was lucky. I was asymptomatic. But oh my Lord. I was right there. And after all this time, I've still never been inside, Let's see. What's your favorite finger picking song to play on that guitar? On this guitar? This is going to be kind of relatively obscure. Here's the first thing. Yeah, it was just bad timing. Thank God I was not that. Somehow I didn't give it to anybody, which is a miracle. So I was very fortunate. You always talk about when you first sit down to play guitar. Lately with the weather being as it is in LA, I've been building a fire in the backyard and watching World Series or some football. And then at some point, I grab this and I sit out in the backyard and I play for the Coyotes, basically. And I was talking, I don't consider it practicing. I'm just kind of playing stuff, trying to figure some things out. And so I always just get familiar, just play some chords, some voicings, some nice things, make sure my intonation's all right. In fact, this one, the B string's a little funky, so I got to take it in. But as finger picking, here's something, I don't know if you guys will recognize this, but it's this. I mess it up. Sorry, it's sloppy. I'm not singing it. So I might give it away. I almost always play that. If I drop the pick and I want to just use finger picking, it's a song called Put It There by Paul McCartney. It's on the Flowers in the Dirt album from the late 80s. It's a little song he wrote based on something his father used to say. And I just love that intro, this walking bass mixed with a top melody. default's right there in open position. You know, as songwriters go, we don't have to like go on and on about Paul McCartney because plenty has been said. But you know, he's actually good for a lot of little guitar workouts. Blackbird being an obvious one. Mother Nature's Son. He's got one from the '90s called is it a Beautiful Day? Or A Great Day. It's gonna be a great day. Something like that. It's just this. So it's a real simple idea. It's really a blues. It's really based on this blues. You know, but he drums the D string over this. And then resolves to an open E. Very clever stuff. Kevin says, that right there, the hammer-on the A string in a G chord is give me fits. Going to take me home country roads, and I know that hammer-on is in there, but the string goes dead when I hit it. Okay, so we're playing an open G chord. And this is a great thing here, Kevin, because if you'll notice, when I play an open G chord, there's a bit of pre-planning going on. I know one of the first ways we learn to play it, and the way we normally teach it, is this one. So the pinky's not used, right? We have the middle finger on 3rd fret, low E. We have 2nd finger on 2nd fret A. We have the next three strings are open. And then our ring finger plays the high E string at the 3rd fret. And we have a nice 6-string G chord. Sorry for the reflections, folks, but the sun is setting, and I think it's actually lovely. But I, especially learning country guitar and stuff early on, kind of got used to playing it this way. And it's funny because when filming Fender lessons, I would have to self-correct a lot because I tend to do this. You can't see my fretboard. Yet again, Mary-Elise, you can never see the fretboard. So here, maybe this is so I tend to sometimes, if I know I'm going to do some hammer-ons and things, I might favor this way, which of course the ring finger is going to play the low E string on 3rd fret. Middle finger is 2nd fret A. The pinky plays the high E string at the 3rd fret because we have the open guess. And notice I now have an index finger available because I know I'm going to play that 1st fret B string for a sus4 to play. I'm also in position to quickly play a G7 on that high E strings and go from 3rd fret with my pinky to the 1st fret with my index finger. See, so that voice is very bluegrass sort of stuff. So you know, that's kind of a thing. So, but either way with that G, we do have whatever finger's playing the 2nd fret of the A string is probably going to be moved over, and we're going to hammer on from open D to 2nd fret D, open G to 2nd fret G. Those are real common. So that's hammering on to the. Now, when I do this middle finger that's reaching over and playing the 3rd fret low E string, it's now the pad of my finger is now muting that open A. So I'm kind of doing away with it. Since I'm not fretting it on the 2nd fret anymore, I'm going to deaden it. I'm going to mute it with the middle finger. So that's just getting used to that right there. Just take your normal G chord. Now lift that index, get rid of it, and see if you can kind of tilt the pad of that middle finger down a bit to mute the A string. Now notice you're still hearing a big G chord. You're just not hearing that B natural that's being played on the 2nd fret A because I'm not playing it. But now I have this finger available. Now that's the hammer on the 2nd fret of the D. I can do the same on the 2nd fret G. So Kevin, if you're working on it, just try and just put a microscope on it and try not to play it like while playing along with country roads necessarily in the beginning. I don't know if you try this, but just try and make that chord and see if you can just get, while holding this position in the fret, just see if you can get that. Just strum the G and get the hammer on. And if you're at it, get a pull off going. Then see if you can strum, because it's a bit of a coordination, a timing thing. Wish I could play it that way more easily. That C shape gets me, and for a G, getting pinky in place sucks. Yeah, getting the pinky involved is going to help out a lot with a lot of our open chords. If we can get the pinky involved, this is how we get these added notes. We're able to hammer on other notes from the scale, and it really livens up our rhythm playing, acoustic and electric. Here's like, okay, so again, if I'm playing a C major, this middle finger that's playing the second fret on the D string, if I can hammer on, that's a lovely sound. But also if I can do a hammer on with that same finger on the G at the second fret, so now what we do is we just take a C chord and first just work on that hammer on while we strum. Then try doing that onto the G. Go ahead and let that open D ring, I don't care. Or you can do that muting trick with your ring finger like I did on that G. Eureka moment right there for me, Kevin. Really? Cool. Typically more 4-finger G and pivot chords for me. Oh, as Eric says, right. Yeah. Right, exactly. So, and that really, learning those like refingering chords in the open position started happening as I learned more songs. And sometimes it was like, I guess I'd probably struggle going from one chord to the next, probably learning old Beatle tunes or whatever. And then it just occurred to me, wait a minute. But if I was in position here, then I can get there a little easier. And, and so I kind of picked through it slowly. I didn't have a private guitar teacher, not until I went to college. I was probably 18 when like someone sat down with me one-on-one specifically to work on guitar. By then I had gone through so many battles, but I was possessed and I was a kid. And so what are you going to do? Hey, speaking of possessed kids, how was Halloween? Anyway, so while we're on the subject, and now you really can't see the fretboard. By the way, this is a few years ago when I was hosting Fender Play Live from this spot. It was this time of year, and daylight savings was coming, and we realized there's no way I can do the show from this spot anymore without blacking out the windows. And then there's other people who live in the house. They don't want to live in a house with a blacked out window. And then we're that weirdo house on the block. So I changed to a different house. This is it. This is it right there. And for some reason, it didn't occur to me that I would be doing this show from the same spot at the same time of year and have this sun issue. But I think it kind of gives it a creepy. Listen, no other live stream show on YouTube has such weird lighting. I'll guarantee you that. Halloween was great. Georgiana was Linda Ronstadt. Let me guess, you had a magnolia in your hair, right? Was it that look? Georgiana, you do kind of resemble Linda Ronstadt. So Georgiana was a private student of mine. By the way, I will be getting a platform finally this week, and I'll start booking private lessons. Yes, which I hope to do a lot of over the next few months because we're taking some time off the road. But here's the thing. So again, with those open chords, and I'm going to try and put the fretboard up. It is nice to get some extra hammer-ons, with our chords. So we have this E major. So here it's on the top 3 strings mostly, and we would use that pinky, and we could get hammer on from the 1st fret G to the 2nd fret. Make sure you trim your pinky nails too, because you really slice yourself up if you don't. That creates that sus4 thing, you know. That's a nice move. But also 2nd fret B and 2nd fret E, high E. We can do hammer-ons there. So you do just one strum and come back up. That was on the open. That was on the high E string at 2nd fret. Now we do it on the B string at the 2nd fret. Do a hammer on there. Then we'll do it the 2nd fret G, and let it resolve back to the 1st fret. So that's a few things on the E chord. Obviously, the D major is one of the ones. Well, that's probably the time we really get our pinky involved. Is this one? Do a little tweety thing on the from 2nd fret to 3rd fret on the high E. That's a useful one too, because a lot of you know, especially folk rock songs and like stuff by the Byrds, you know, they would use that move a lot. And I don't know, I'm sure you guys probably thought of many others. There's on that open A chord, which I always kind of play differently every time. Again, if I know there's going to be a move. But if I play it this way, I'll hammer on my pinky onto the 2nd fret of the B string. You have this movement, open B, 2nd fret B, 3rd B, over this A chord. And then we get a lot of Tom Petty action. Or Ticket to Ride. So we get that real open, chimey feel. And we're playing licks, and really nice melodic licks usually, riffs, if you will. But we don't really have to do a lot of movement. We're just kind of using what's really underneath our fingertips when we're playing our first chord, our first position chords. Now, in terms of getting that pinky involved, this is where the good old spider scale really comes into play. This is really one of the first pieces of fretboard scale work I would advise someone to get used to doing at the very beginning, because you don't have to memorize notes necessarily. You don't have to know. It's not a C major scale. It's not anything. It's a chromatic scale. And we would start on the 1st fret of the low E string, and then play the 2nd fret of the low E string with the middle finger, 3rd fret of the low E string with the ring finger, then 4th fret of that same string with the pinky. So that really makes us, we have forces to make a nice clear note with our pinky from the get-go. It's just like any of our fret hand fingers. This is really good for bass players, by the way. And then you do the same thing on the next string up, and you go on and on. And just one note. Now, by the way, if you have small hands or particularly longer, it's okay. If you have to shift a little bit to get that pinky to make that 4th fret nice and solid, go ahead. I really want the pinky to make a clear, strong note. And if you have to reposition a bit for now to make that happen, by all means. Let's just let that pinky, prove itself and get itself a spot on the team. So that's it. So it's just 4 frets in a row on each string using a different finger with the corresponding frets. They won't change. And then, of course, run it back. Here's another tip. If it's really difficult to spread the hand out here at the bottom of the neck, since we're not using any open strings, you can move it up. Start at the 7th fret, right in the middle of the fretboard. The frets are a little closer together, and as long as again, the point of this is that you get some dexterity and some independence going on in the. Sorry, and if this is Dylan, I'm going to kill him because he knows I'm busy. Anyway, So yeah, you can always do it the 7th fret. And back. So it's really just about getting that dexterity going. Also, this is kind of nice too, because this is funny. My daughter asked me earlier today. She goes, "Do musicians get carpal tunnel syndrome much?" I said, "Yeah, a lot, particularly drummers, but guitar players can't. We're all in danger of it, but really, it's from that repetitive motion. If you're making the exact same moves with your hands and your arm muscles over and over again, then that's how that develops. So it is nice to get some variation in motion. So even if you know you're going to sit down and you're going to work on chords, a particular song or chord changes, or just whatever it is, to do some single note exercises, get that in the mix during a practice session, just to vary that movement. And then of course there's all sorts of finger stretches and things. And you guys are still subscribers to the Fender Play stuff, there's still lessons on there, hand exercises, softly bending the fingers back and those sorts of things. So anyway, I hope you guys had fun. Dylan will be back next week for sure. And we'll be back at the regular studio with normal stuff. But I'm now going to switch over to the TIL, which stands for Today I Learned. The TIL site, because there'll be students waiting there. Some people that have signed up for the workshop for the developing guitarist. And we're actually going to do some chord theory stuff. So thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for seeing me in the comments. Dylan says hello and everything. He was just said he's teaching, I think at USC, something about mastering records, which, don't ask me what that is. No one knows what it is. It's a mysterious thing. In my opinion, you just throw more compressors on everything to make it louder. But what do I know? All right, we will see you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you so much for your compliment. I'll see you guys around. Thank you, Tom. Everybody be safe. I'll have a good one. You got it. I'll see some people in Tulsa tomorrow night, hopefully. I don't know. I'm playing there from what they tell me. Or Chicago on Friday. Or no, Saturday. I don't know where I'm going. I'll just see you. Yeah, we do everything we can to keep it going. Honestly, we really can. If we have to do it, on the back of a truck, we will. All right? Take care, guys.